Alright, we're going to go over some penetrating epoxy and what it can be used for with your wood or whatever project you're looking at. So I have a piece of wood here that's pretty rotten. You can get a pretty good view of that. It's pretty tore up. In fact, it's super light. It's almost as light as these sponges here. And we're going to do something with these sponges too. So this board here came from my friend Donnie's barn. It was built in 1811 and it's pretty rotten. These sponges come from Home Depot and they're sponges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make something out of this sponge. I make a baby SpongeBob or something, right? Can't do it the way it is. And I want to do something with this wood here. And as it sits, it's just going, I can put my finger in a lot of these places, so it's real punky, real rotten, and we need to stabilize the wood so you can do different projects. Once it's stabilized, then you can work it, you can do whatever you want to do with it. So I'm going to use the penetrating epoxy here. It's 2-to-1 ratio. I'm going to mix them up. We're going to see what we can do here. Once I mix it, I'm going to pour it into here. I'm going to pour it into my sponge, and then we'll see what we can do. Obviously, I'm trying to stabilize the sponge. The sponge and the wood at this point is about the same. Lots of holes, lots of air in here, and we're trying to stabilize it. It's gonna probably take a lot of epoxy. Same with this, but we don't have to fill it all up in one go. The most we can put in it is the best we can do. So I'm gonna mix it up, put it in here, and then let's see what we can do. And you'll find wood or stuff that you're like, it's probably no good, I'm gonna throw it out. But you know what? Don't throw it out. Because a lot of people think that this wood's no good. It's actually fantastic. Once you put epoxy in here and you stabilize it, then you can actually pour other epoxy into all these crevices, and it won't leak out, and then you can put color in there. You can do so it opens up what you can do. All right, let's get to mixing. Okay, so I'm taking 2-part epoxy. This is penetrating epoxy, and we're gonna just mix this up a little batch here, and we're gonna take that sponge and we're gonna take that wood, which is pretty much like that sponge. It's rotten. That piece of wood I got from my friend's barn that was built in 1811 in New York. And when I drove over there in 2023, I got a whole bunch of it, and I drove back with it. So he just told me I could take whatever I want. But see, what I'm doing is I'm putting that penetrating epoxy in there. See how that sucks in there? Well, what happens is once that epoxy sets up, it really hardens the wood where you can do whatever you want. It could be as porous as that sponge. But once that sets in, it's actually, you could sand it, you can router it, cut it, whatever you want to do, carve it. It's very, very hard, just like wood. So what I'm going to do is, and you can see I still got nails in there, and I basically, I already got a Tyvek table I'm working off of, so I don't really care if I spill it or if it flips over or whatever. I don't really care about that. So as you can see, I'm just keep adding it in there, keep sucking it in. You see how it just sucks in, because penetrating epoxy, unlike slow pour or tabletop epoxy, which are much thicker, this is super thin, and it really does penetrate. And if you could take this and you can make a form even, and you can just pour it in there, it will suck it up. See, look at that. See, I already went over this and it's already gone. Now the one issue with the penetrating epoxy, it does have a shelf life. So if I don't use all of it in that little plastic container, within, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, it's going to heat up and it's really going to get hot, and it will melt that little container. It will seriously, absolutely, positively melt that container. So that was one of my concerns when I was doing my bees, that it was going to melt the wings of the bees when I was doing it. That was an actual concern of mine. Now we're onto the sponge, and you can see I'm adding a whole bunch into there, and I just see that wood just keeps sucking it up. Same thing's going to happen to that sponge. We're going to keep adding to it and adding to it until she's full. can see that, very hard. Look at that, isn't that cool? I mean, it's just so much character in that guy. So much character. You can see how rotten it was. Now it's hard. I think that, and I really like this part here where they hit it with some nails. You know, it's just really interesting. Real cool. Here's our sponge. You see that? A little soft in here. So you just hit it again. But you could actually work with that and make something out. Like you can make a mini SpongeBob out of that. And anything you want to do. Again, it just gives you a good way of saving and salvaging a rotten wood with a lot of character. All right, cool beans. Okay, this is the follow-up after I impregnated this sponge and this rotten wood with penetrating epoxy. Now it's pretty hard. There's a couple of spots that are soft that you can hit it again, soak it again, but you can actually work with that now. See how hard that is? Very hard. Very similar was a rotten piece of lumber from my friend's barn back in New York. Now it was completely rotten, as you can see that. Now the penetrating epoxy made it super hard. Now you can actually work with it. You can see here, some of it didn't soak in. It's not a problem, you can sand that off. You can actually hit this again with epoxy if you want, penetrating epoxy, or you can hit it with a colored epoxy to fill in all these little cracks and crevices. Very interesting. It could be a cool shelf. It could be, you know, you could, when some of these are larger, you could use them as a mantle, but at least now it's a usable piece as opposed to before it was just a rotten piece. Now I'm going to get some close-ups for you. See how hard that is? Very hard. All right, let's do some close-ups for you. And here are some of the close-ups that I wanted you to see. You can see the grain. You could probably see some of the epoxy in there. I also wanted to talk to you folks about subscribing. Now, I'm really trying to get to 500 subscribers, and I noticed that 92% of you who watch this channel are not subscribed. I urge you to please subscribe and enjoy this video and the next one. So hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Take care now.